He's conditioned us to say, let's never upset anybody around the world. Whatever China wants, China gets. Because we can't stand up to them because we can't do something they disagree with. What if we say something they disagree with? Well, then China's mad at us. We can't get China mad at us. We can't get Russia mad at us. We can't get Iran mad at us. We don't want to get North Korea mad at us. Barack Obama's philosophy has been, let's make sure nobody gets mad at us. But here's the thing, China doesn't care if we're mad at them, do they? Because we don't think it's fair that they manipulate their currency, that they hurt U.S. businesses in this way. They don't mind, they don't care that it makes us mad, that there's a massive trade imbalance. That makes the United States mad, but China doesn't care, do they? There's things that Iran does. It makes the United States mad that Iran continues spinning their centrifuges and working toward a nuclear weapon and capturing our soldiers temporarily as they did. Remember that? Our sailors holding guns at their heads. And Iran does things like this. Iran funnels money and arms to Hamas to attack Israel. That makes the United States mad. Do you think Iran is sitting there biting their fingernails going, oh no, we don't want to get the United States mad at us? They don't care if we're mad. China doesn't care if we're mad. Well, it's time, folks, for the United States to start saying, we don't necessarily care if you get mad at us, because we're going to start negotiating from a position of strength. What if Ronald Reagan during the Cold War, what if Ronald Reagan did everything possible to keep Mikhail Gorbachev and the Soviet Union from ever being upset or irritated with the United States? Do you realize in his negotiations with Mikhail Gorbachev, one of the times Ronald Reagan got up and walked out of the room and walked out of the negotiations, said, you know what, that's it. I mean, he played hardball with them. He was also willing to work with them. He said, look, we'll work with you, we'll give you some stuff. We're not saying our way or the highway. We're not saying we get everything and you get nothing. But what we are saying is, we have some demands. We have some demands, and we expect you to negotiate in good faith. Ronald Reagan, he governed from a position of strength with the Soviet Union. But China is so big and they're so powerful, we could end up in a war with China. What, the Soviet Union wasn't big and powerful? At the time, that there were two superpowers in the entire world, the United States and the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was perceived and understood to be way more of a global threat, especially against the United States, than even China is today. That's how serious it was. And Ronald Reagan took him on and said, no, we're not going to be weak with you. We're not going to demand everything. We're not going to try to be dictators. But you're not going to be dictators either. That's how that's all Donald Trump is doing with China. Saying, we've been taking orders from you constantly. You've been taking advantage of us, and all we do is say, thank you, sir, may we have another. Thank you, sir, may we have another. That's all we keep doing with China. And those days are over. And the media can't handle that, and certainly Democrats can't handle that. They're like, but we should do whatever China wants. No. But then that's going to lead us to war. Then that's China's fault. Do you really think China's going to take us to world war because we're now saying we want fair deals and improved negotiated deals now? I mean, is that really going to take us to war? If that's the case, folks, it's a fundamental question. What do you do with a nation? Even a nation as big and dangerous as China. What do you do with a nation that points their finger at the United States and tells the United States, we get everything, you get nothing? And we will tell you what phone calls you're allowed to take. We will tell you what the trade deals are going to be. We will write the trade deals and you'll go along with them. We will make these decisions. And it's your job, the United States, to keep us happy here in China. Folks, we got a fundamental philosophical question. Is the role of the United States to be in cases like this? Okay, whatever you say, because we just don't want to make you mad. We don't want to risk war. So is that really what we want the United States to be going forward? Because if we do, then let's just forget the United States being a superpower anymore. Let's forget them being a leader in the world anymore. So it's kind of fundamental gut check time, folks. a superpower. That doesn't mean we have to try to provoke China to war or try to get into a war. But sometimes you have to be willing to stand up to geopolitical enemies and say, enough is enough. No. We're telling you no. You have to check with us before I take a phone call. No. You have to promise that the one China policy will never be changed. No. Well, you can't. You have to take that off the table in negotiations. No. Donald Trump is telling China no. And you know what? They're like a spoiled brat that needs to be told no. You stand up to bullies. You don't run and hide and just give them your lunch money every day so you can stay out of the fight. And by the way, if we showed strength to China, there's no indication that China would actually go to war with us for something like this anyway. They